Good day. Now let's study one of the most powerful and pervasive constitutional doctrines, police power. Under Article 2, Section 5 of the 1987 Constitution, the state recognizes its duty to maintain peace, order, and the general welfare. This is expressed through police power, which allows the government to restrain liberty and property to promote the common good. Now let's define its scope, requisites, limits, and illustrates with jurisprudence. Police power is the inherent authority of the state to enact regulations that interfere with liberty, property, and business for the promotion of public welfare. The Supreme Court, in the case of Geroche versus DOE, described police power as the most pervasive, least limitable, and the most demanding of the three fundamental powers of government. Unlike taxation or eminent domain, it does not require compensation because it is justified by the overriding interest of the general public. The constitutional basis of police power lies in the General Welfare Clause. In Ortigas and Company versus Fiati Bank, the court emphasized that individual liberty and property rights must give way when the welfare of the greater number demands it. The Bill of Rights guarantees freedoms, but they are not absolute. They exist in balance with the duty of the state to secure public safety, health, morals, and welfare. The scope of police power is expansive and adaptable. It touches nearly all aspects of life. It authorizes quarantine and health regulations, restrictions on vices such as gambling and liquor, rules on firearms and traffic for safety, and economic regulations like zoning and rate setting for public welfare. The breadth of this power explains why it is called the most essential and least limitable of state powers. For police power to be valid, two requisites must concur. First, the lawful subject requirement means the regulation must genuinely address a public interest, not merely benefit a privileged few. Second, the lawful means requirements that demands that the measures adopted are reasonably necessary and not unduly harsh. If either element is missing, then the act is unconstitutional. Several cases illustrate valid exercises of police power. The 6-month Boracay closure was upheld to rehabilitate the environment. In Ermita Malati Hotel versus City Mayor, an ordinance requiring inspection of motels was sustained as a morality regulation. In the case of Republic versus Meralco, utility rate regulation was justified because property devoted to public use is clothed with public interest. And in Del Rosario versus ABS-CBN, the court ruled that even labor contracts are subject to police power to protect workers' rights. The court has also struck down unreasonable regulations. In White Light Corporation versus Manila, the court invalidated an ordinance requiring 12-hour minimum stay in motels, ruling the means oppressive. In OSG versus Ayala Land, requiring malls to provide free parking was invalidated as confiscatory. In MMDA versus Truckworks, the court clarified that MMDA has no police power. Only Congress and LGUs properly delegated with authority can exercise it. Police power also extends to areas many assume as rights. For example, in Chavez versus Romulo, the court ruled that the right to bear arms is not constitutional in the Philippines. It is statutory. Thus, licenses may be revoked under police power. Likewise, contractual freedom yields to public interest, as in labor cases where protective legislation override purely private agreements. The essence of police power is balance. It ensures that individual rights are exercised within a framework of social responsibility. While it is pervasive, it is not unlimited. The regulation must be for a genuine public purpose, reasonably necessary, and consistent with constitutional safeguards. Otherwise, it becomes an abuse of power. In conclusion, police power is the state's primary tool to secure the welfare of its people. It authorizes restraint on liberty and property, but only when exercised for a lawful subject and through lawful means. Our jurisprudence demonstrates both the necessity and the dangers of this power, upholding reasonable regulations while invalidating oppressive ones. Ultimately, it is the heartbeat of constitutional governance, balancing freedom with responsibility and individual rights with collective good.